Hello everyone, this is Amit here. Last time I created a video on how to build this or how did I build the static web page, everything free and hosted on the GitHub, right? So last time it was like the basic landing page of index, and if you select on something like this and it's for the node, right? Things like that. Things has been improved a lot over the period, and I had a long wish uh, of, thinking of like how do I just want to have a UI where you click and the backend codes need to execute, right? From my background, obviously I was not aware of everything as I started from system admin, but that was my wish, and lately I could able to do something out of it, and I thought of sharing it up. Obviously there would be way better options and way better way to do that, but I, I don't know whether I have reached up to that or not, but let me share whatever I have learned, right? So this is the code where everything I put. Okay, so if you see I created a basic simple main.go and package this one main. This is a another module that I have created. We'll go through that, and this one on that. Okay, and then I have this net HTTP. So if you see, I've created one function called hello world, and the hello world is take a do a response write up hello world, right, on your page. And I created another function called ls, and the ls supposed to get into this particular web list, and it should execute a list function within this particular web list and give the output. Right, and the last one is the routing path. So if you see, the default routing I have given is the static directory, right? This is the static directory where I have all the CSS, basic images, JavaScript, everything I have included, including pages, and a default landing page within that particular static directory, right? And I also made say that okay, if someone is looking for this, it should, I mean, dynamic hello world, it should keep come to this particular function which should return this one, and if someone is doing ls, it should come up with this particular function. In return it should execute this one, the list function, and give their output, right? And it should be hosted on 5555. Okay, so as of now this is okay. Let's go through a little bit now this, right? On the last tutorial I made it like how I make linked. For example, I made a link on this one saying like the load function on this particular dynamic hello world, if someone is clicking on this particular id, and it should load for this particular, or load in the sense it should call this particular url if someone is clicking on this particular id. Right now this is defined on a particular page where I made it on this. If I come over pages and come to this particular SRE tools page, right? So SRE tools page over here I have defined saying like, let's come over here and where I have defined yes. So if you see this hello world ID, then it should call for this one, right? It should link as hello world, it will display as hello world, and if someone clicking on this one, it should call this particular ID. And this JavaScript has saying like if someone is clicked on this particular ID, it should load or call this particular URL. And if someone is calling this particular URL, in the main world it says come this URL, you call hello http hello world function, and hello world says like this one it's supposed to write. And similar like that, if I come over here, if someone is clicking on this let's say SRE tools ls, okay, so this particular ls, right, this ls on the web page, it should come to this particular id. This id says that okay, when you get someone right on this one, it should load call this particular link, and this link is again defined over here, saying like if someone is coming to this route, it's supposed to call ls function. The ls function says okay, you go ahead and keep call this web list function, and whatever the output it is. Let's come back to what is this web list, right? Let's say if I come over here and this list function, I made it simple. Okay, it says this is the function called list. It need to be exported, that's why the first letter is capital. Okay, and it's executing a particular script which is there on this program, and ls command.sh. You can put anything on that. The output whatever is there, it's on the by stream. I formatted a little bit so that it as for my css, so that it will display the message something like this, the basic h1 all those things, and the output of ls, it should come on your on the browser, this output, and pre-formatted, and something like that, right? So if I come over here, so I believe you got it how exactly this function is defined and all those things. So if I come over here the ls command, right? I've done a basic command. You can put anything on this particular, right? You can execute a basic, I mean simple direct command itself from your terminal, or you can call any particular other setup script, like it can be python, it can be golang, anything. Okay, and if it is ls, I've made it simple. It should say current time, date, and it should print this one. That's pretty much, and the ultimate goal is this all should display on your web page. Let's start the web app. So let me come over here and type okay, so type this one. It's asking for permission on that particular network circuit. Opened it up, come over here, this is the page 5555. Okay, enter. This the default static landing page has been loaded. Okay, now I made this particular navigation on this particular page, and now if I click on this ls, right, remember if I click on this ls, hello world, let's come over here again on this html page. So if I click this hello world, which is again this one, okay, it should call a javascript having this particular id sre tools hello world. So let me come over here. I have included this particular js on the down, right, sre tools, yes. So it should come over here, and whatever is there, right, hello world, it should be this one, and it should load that one on a particular web page id, right? You can go through this code on my github, which is hosted already, the similar format css I've taken, right? It should call this particular endpoint. Now this particular endpoint is hosted on this particular endpoint. It should call to this hello world, and in return it should give the output on that one, right? Let's click that. Okay, see hello world. So if I put something else on this code, okay, let's say Amit, and obviously I have to stop and start again. Okay, allow, let me come over here, click on this. Ideally it's supposed to give hello Amit. I think you are clear on this. Now let's go through this ls, right? So if I click on this ls, obviously on the code I have pointed everything, and if I go through the link and id, it comes over here js, and it define, it says this call this particular dynamic ls, and the dynamic ls has been routed to this particular ls command, right? this ls function. Now this ls function, as I explained earlier, it is doing this call. You can put anything now. Okay, update the similar things a little bit different, whatever you are putting on the code, but eventually it is running this particular code which is supposed to run ls-latr. Okay, you can put anything on that. For now, let's go through like this. And now if I come over here and type ls, click ls, it's actually, see, it's pointing the current time and giving the output. Let's say again, if I do, it should be dynamic. So now if you want, you can put anything on your code and it's supposed to do. Let's stop it for a quick demo. Okay, I'm updating the code again, and let's say what is here, cho echo, sorry, again, and let's say uptime. Uptime, if I can able to make it correct. Okay, make sure as this is by stream, so obviously the command output supposed to be over and then it will display, right? So let me try this one. So it should give me this one and at the end uptime, right? So let me run again. Okay, allow. Let me come over here, reload the page. It should be no issues though, and type, click on this ls. Okay, see, it's dynamic. This particular time it's loaded, and at the end it's also giving me this output. Okay, I think that's all for today, and hopefully from the earlier video on this particular website, how I created the link, everything, and from this particular dynamic pages, I believe you should be able to do way more and make this click for doing all your programs for individual tasks, and it should display. And that's how you can run your all your backend codes on the UI. Thank you.